always gentle.
Hey, we're back again for another episode with Phil and Pete, Conversations with Phil and Pete. We actually have our guest here today. His name's Roger Baker. He is actually running for the New Mexico Senate District 36. And like I said before, I do have my buddy Pete. He's down here somewhere. I think he's right
Yeah,
there.
here.
And then there's Roger over here, which is pretty cool. Um, what's up, Pete? What's up, Roger?
Not much.
Yeah, Roger. So yeah, thank you for coming on. Roger, we've known you for a while. Phil gave us a little official intro, but Roger, first off, I want to say you look good.
You look good.
I want to say you look good. And how you been, man?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling a lot better than when we worked together. I had my bariatric surgery last May, and I'm down right around 100 pounds.
Ooh,
Awesome.
So, yeah, I got a lot more to go, but
you gotta start somewhere, and you can
Gotta
tell,
start
man.
somewhere.
You can tell. How do you feel with that 100 pounds off of you, Roger?
oh man, I can walk. I can. It's other than the cold, it's a lot easier. I don't breathe so heavy, and I just feel better. I do. I still have some other physical problems like a bad back, and I was able to finally get an MRI done on it. So I've got a couple screwed up discs down in the lower part of my back. I'm getting physical therapy for it, but
Well,
yeah.
it makes sense. It makes sense being big for a while. You know, me being a big guy, I've definitely had some of my health problems myself. My
Right.
wife, she had the same type of surgery. She looks great now. You know, she's lost about 130 pounds, 140 pounds.
Wow, great.
She's killing it too. You know, it's definitely a healthy way to go.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
but
a
yeah,
tool.
man, you look good. You look great, Roger. You really do,
Yeah.
man.
It's a tool. It's not. And I'm going to plug this a little bit before we get into the other stuff, but it is not a quick fix scheme. And I bet I know your wife can attest to that. But I've gotten some responses from people that say, "Oh, you're just no willpower." It's not about willpower. It's about the body finally not being able to metabolize. So this is one way to help it. If you have other problems, to get it fixed. So
Well
Makes
said.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
makes
very well
perfect-
said.
Hell yeah, perfect sense. And it worked for you. Like I said, you look good, and if you feel good, shit, that's all that matters.
yeah,
Right.
better.
And so just a little bit, it was awesome to see you yesterday. Really quick, just about that,
Yeah.
before we get into a little bit, I kind of turned to one of my employees and we looked at each other and he was like, "Is this a Trump rally?" I said,
It wasn't a Trump rally. It was a Dona Ana Republican Party meeting. We have a monthly meeting every month for the Dona Ana Republican Party, where we have speakers or we talk about what's going on in the Republican Party in Dona Ana. I'm more conservative than Republican because, I don't agree with everything Republican. I'm not this staunch anti-everything Republican that a lot of people imagine. I'm more conservative with a slight liberal side to me. Very slight, but I am slightly liberal in certain things. So,
well, I was taking a look at the card you gave me. We'll be posting a picture of this up, to help you out. But this is awesome. You gave me this card yesterday. The very first thing that stuck out to me, of course, is your name, New Mexico. But like the focus, you put a focus on there: Constitution, education, jobs, veterans.
right.
Why in that order? And why'd you put that out there like that?
It's not any particular order. There's a lot of things that are important to me. By far, vets are really important to me. Because
Sure.
being a Navy veteran,
Being a vet.
of course,
Yeah.
Same thing with the Constitution, though. I swore an oath back in 1980 when I joined the Navy to uphold and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. What I see is that there are people out there from both sides, again, but mostly from the left side, who today are not the liberals of when I was growing up, the JFK, liberal, the left the leftists like that, the early, or I don't even know when it changed, to be honest with you.
I see what you mean, though. I do.
Now it's more, they want government to control everything. They want to take away rights. And what people don't realize is that the rights build upon each other. You're probably going to ask me about the SB or the gun thing, like you mentioned in your message. So why don't we just jump right into that?
Yeah,
New Mexico right now, the legislature is up in Santa Fe, voting on what they call SB 5. It's a red flag law.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally unconstitutional. And the reason why, sorry, something just spoke to me. My phone. The reason why it's unconstitutional is, one, it violates the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment says the right of the people. Now, I know everybody say, but it's militia and all that. No, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, saying that, felons should not have guns. Domestic abusers should not have guns. Along those lines, because those are the people that are making lawful gun owners like me look bad. The other thing it violates, though, is it violates the Fourth Amendment, your Fifth Amendment, and your Sixth Amendment rights. Your illegal search and seizure, your right to not incriminate yourself in a fair trial. And my mind just went blank on the sixth. I'd have to look it up again real quick. But it does violate those amendments. Plus, it violates the 14th Amendment. So by saying that, the bill does not, it assumes you guilty before innocent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would you want somebody coming and saying you're guilty and having to prove your innocence? Or would you rather have somebody have to prove your guilt than you have to prove your innocence?
No, I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. And just so that everybody's aware, right now the it's labeled the SP5. Is that what it's labeled?
SBs, Senate Bill 5.
Okay.
And there's actually House Bill 8, which they combined. They did a resolution. The Democrats in Santa Fe, and yes, unfortunately, there's labels. I've kind of gotten my tail reamed by people saying we should divide, but anyways, the Democrats came in late with the SB 5 bill and dropped it without giving any updates to people to comment on or to talk to their representatives about, or try to talk to the representatives who voted for it. Let the will of the people be known.
Right.
So, but I have a current copy of the bill.
Mm-hmm. And so everybody can understand who listens to it. What is the bill going to do exactly? What is it that they're targeting with this bill?
And then real quick, Roger and Pete, I found that Sixth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment grants criminal defendants the right to a speedy and public trial by impartial jury consisting of jurors.
Right.
So just so everyone knows, that's what the Sixth Amendment was.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. What the SB 5, and we don't know what is the law. The law is going to be, other than the fact it's called the Emergency Red Flag Protection Law or something like that. What it is supposed to help with is people like take for example the shooter in Walmart in El Paso here last year. His mother kept calling the police saying that she was worried about him having guns. So then you're supposed to be able to call up and they go and take your guns away. But if you're not a criminal, who's to say that an ex-girlfriend can't do that, or a mother-in-law can't do that?
Anybody.
Or an ex-mother-in-law that can't do
anybody.
that.
Yeah, anybody.
A mad ex-mother-in-law. I'm sorry?
I said anybody could do that at that point.
Right. And the law, the way they have it right now, says that pretty much anybody can do that to you. Now, people tell you it's only certain people, but it's not. I've read the bill, and if anybody wants to read the bill, it's not hard. Go to nmlegis.gov and look up SB5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that way, people have to read the laws. People have to read what's really going on. Don't just take one side of it. You don't have to take my side of it, for example. Go look at the actual bill.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to impress upon people that's important. Instead of just voting from what you hear from one side, or believing what you hear from one side, learn, educate yourself.
No, I love it. No, you're right, and I think that's what a lot of individuals lack whenever it comes to topics like this, or when they try to speak on topics like this.
Right.
And that's even one of the, that's also one of the main reasons I wanted you on too, is to get a side of it,
Yeah.
Because me thoroughly not understanding it before, I understand it a little bit better now, and what the bill does. And so, I mean, theoretically speaking, the bill says right now is that anybody can call on somebody,
right,
and that gun can be potentially picked up. You can be picked up. I mean,
not you necessarily picked up. What they'll do, what the police or the sheriff's department will do is they'll come knock on your door. I got this thing saying that you're in danger. You yelled at somebody. Okay. Yeah, I know I'm being a little dramatical here, but that's
true.
Basically it. And we're here to get your guns. So we're going to come in your house and we're going to search your house and take all your guns.
Wow.
Doesn't matter how many you have. And then you have 15 days to respond to the courts to try to get your guns back. But unlike a crime, you have to pay for your own attorney.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
And if the judge decides that you're still in danger, they can keep your guns for up to a year at a time. Now, people don't want their stuff taken away. They don't have to compensate you for it. Even our eminent domain laws require the government to pay for you for your property.
Yeah.
So in this case, they don't. So if I have $10,000 worth of guns, which I don't, I'm poor. But if I had $10,000 worth of guns, I'm out $10,000. I'm out the money it costs to defend myself for something that I have to prove my innocence on.
That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
And the people and legislators aren't telling the people these little facts. And now they added in more language that the sheriff's departments, we have out of 33 counties, I think it's 33 or 32 counties. Like, I'm still learning all this political stuff. I'm brand new at this.
I love it.
All but 3 counties are gun sanctuary counties. So what the Dems did is they threw in another amendment saying that if the sheriffs don't follow through with this law, that the sheriffs can then be sued up to $2 million. Well, who pays for that?
Or taxpayers, yeah.
Taxpayers, of course.
Golly.
And by the way, the authors of the bill in the House and the author of the bill in the Senate are both lawyers who work in this field, personal injury lawyers. So to me, it seems kind of like a conflict of interest.
Definitely,
because they're putting in the ability to have tort actions against county sheriffs, and then they're going to get paid possibly to, try these cases.
Yeah. It's just a tick. It's an opening for them.
Yeah, it's a big opening.
Big opening.
Yeah.
And just so not only can they take your guns away, they can hold them, and then you got to pay for defense yourself.
Right.
And then still at that, it's left in somebody else's hands that your guns can still be held.
Right. And then the other thing included too is y'all know what the NICS system is, right?
And
That's
We
the
don't.
No,
What is
we
it?
don't.
background check system the FBI,
Oh.
they use around the country.
Yeah.
When you want to purchase a gun at a gun store,
That's
or
what they
you
use.
get a
That's what I've
gun
heard of.
show from a dealer, you have to do a gun background check.
Mhm.
Okay. If your name's listed on that NICS system, a lot of times you'll get denied the purchase. Well, with this, they put your name in the system right away.
Oh wow.
And I was talking with Tony Mace, or Sheriff Tony Mace, I'm sorry, out of Cibolo County last night while he was at the meeting I was at.
Mhm.
And he said, and he was saying it is very hard once you get into that system to get your name taken out of it. And there's no mandatory federal law that states have to put like felons and domestic abusers and all that in there. Even if we have laws like in New Mexico or federal laws where felons and domestic abusers have to be in the system.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Continue, please.
Yeah,
I'm
please.
learning.
Yeah, we're just learning over here. We're just in shock.
It's just that your name going on there. I mean, I'm just thinking of all the possibilities. I mean, because one thing that I've always wanted to do is purchase a firearm, and
Right.
I've held myself. I'm waiting for my son to mature a little bit,
Right.
but I've always wanted to purchase one, and just like the responsibility, because then now it's got me thinking, well, shit, if I meet not saying I'm gonna meet some crazy bitch, but if some crazy person runs upon me, and they just say I have a gun, somebody can come in, search my house, take my piece,
Right.
and then hold my piece. And if my name goes on a list, I can't buy another piece after that.
Exactly.
It'll be hard to get another piece.
Exactly.
So it's just like, I think of hunters, and I think of just people who shoot recreationally, like they get the shit under the stick. I mean, if you're a gun owner, you got to walk on thin ice. It's what it's like.
Basically, yeah. Or you don't even have to walk on thin ice. I mean, if let's say, and hopefully this never happens to you guys, or like you, Phil, you get divorced, and your mother-in-law hates you after you leave her daughter, and you have a gun, and they call up the police and make up a story, and everybody sticks to it, and they swear that you were this person, even though you haven't yelled at anybody, you haven't walked, you've lived a normal life. They can take your gun.
Take pretty much my liberty after that. Take it
Yep.
all after that.
Yeah, and then put your name on that list, and then you're fucked, and that's the biggest thing. It's like everything that comes afterwards. We and Phil have done podcasts on, when people get popped with felonies when they shouldn't, how badly it affects them down the road. And it's just one of those things, everything fucking afterwards. And this is what's set in place right now, Roger.
It's not a law yet. It's the House's, the way they do it is that what they did is they combined the bills. Like I said, the SB 5 and the HB 8, they combined them and then they approved them in the Senate. Now it has to go back to the House, which is being heard in only one committee today, where by House rules it's supposed to be heard in two committees, and they're supposed to have public speaking on the bills. And they're not doing that from what I understand, or it's only like 30 minutes or something like that. And, there's 30 sheriffs. They're going to drive all the way from all over New Mexico in this kind of weather to only get 1 minute to speak about how unconstitutional this stuff is.
That's a load of shit.
That's crazy.
So, I'm for the Constitution. I'm for your freedom of speech. I'm for your right to keep and bear arms. I'm for not quartering military in your house during peacetime, which is the third Amendment. I'm for your Fourth Amendment, your Fifth Amendment, your Sixth Amendment. I'm for all the amendments, particularly your Bill of Rights, the original 10 amendments that made this country. We have other amendments which I don't agree with maybe as much, but because I swore an oath, I will defend those. There's things there's things that people do with their First Amendment rights that I don't agree with.
Yeah, of course.
Burning flags, burning Bibles, things like that. But the Supreme Court says they can do it. So therefore I have to, I don't have to support it, but I can defend it.
You can defend it. No, I'm with you. So did that whole Kaepernick shit drive you up the wall?
Yes, it did.
It did.
I buried my father this last year in June, a month after my surgery.
Sorry, Roger.
Yeah, sorry.
And he was a 34-year Navy veteran, served in Vietnam, and then all over the world. And they put a flag over his casket. And my stepmom got the flag.
Mm-hmm.
And until somebody who's actually received one of those flags, whether it's from losing a family member to war or to an accident or just somebody who served as long as like my father did, they don't understand. And there are some vets that say, oh, it's no big deal. It's like, yeah, no, you're wrong. It is a big deal. Because that blood on that flag, when it's laid over a coffin, represents the blood of my brothers and sisters throughout our history as Americans have bled and will bleed in the future. So,
well said. No, it's I like it. I like what you say, and it's always good to get another ear on it. And my condolences again about your father.
Yeah.
It's that the flag has it has a meaning to people, and depending on your meaning will depend on your actions and how you feel towards it.
Right.
And
let me say this real quick though. Kaepernick has the right to do that. Okay. What really ticked me off though was that he was doing it at work. He is paid to play football. If he didn't want to honor the flag, he could have stayed in the locker room. Like any of the other ones, Rapido, all the other ones, they can stay in the locker rooms. They don't have to disrespect the flag. And they're saying it's not disrespectful, but they keep changing their tune. It's not disrespectful. Well, they're disrespecting Trump, not the flag. It's about police brutality. It's about this. It's about that. It's about make up your mind. Stick to one thing.
No, you're right.
When I'm right. You to play football, which I do when I watch it or when I watched it, I'm not watching you. I'm not there to watch you kneel and disrespect the flag. I'm watching you to actually play football.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's the media has so much to do with it too, man.
So much to do with it.
I mean, while we're trying to watch the moments of of the national anthem, the media is just focusing these networks. Not blaming it all on the networks. I mean, understandable. You got to keep the TV rolling, and I know that's what's going to keep the TV rolling. But I think they had so much to do with it, and it was blown out of proportion. I like the way you said it. I like it. He did it at work. He had a big enough platform, I think, me personally, where he could have done it not at work, like social media. Right. Social media is fucking big these days. If you don't run across or get a message across on social media, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
right.
And that's why, when you came up to me last night, that's why you said, I want you on my podcast. And I said, well, what the heck? Why not? I'm out here. I mean, it's good practice for me too.
Yeah. Yeah. Interviews are coming, Roger. It's not just us. There's going to be a lot more interviews coming your way.
Oh, thanks. Now I'm scared to death. Not kidding.
Hey, but I wanted to ask you why all of a sudden with the politics?
Yeah, that's a good question.
My dad belonged to every veterans organization in Las Cruces, here in Las Cruces. He did things for the community. I'm looking at New Mexico. I'm sitting behind my keyboard, and all I'm doing is, typing. Where's that going to get me? I was at the Republican meeting, and they said they had nobody to run against my opponent. And my opponent is a Democrat, of course, and he's one of those that's voting for all these laws. And I thought about it, prayed about it overnight, and I said, something I got to do. I gotta do something for this community. I can't sit here in Las Cruces and not do anything. I got to carry on the family tradition like my dad did.
Yeah.
This is the way I can do it.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
I love it. That's really good stuff. And that's awesome to hear about your dad, being part of all the organizations, all the veteran organizations here around town. That's pretty cool to hear. How old was your dad when he passed, Roger?
Oh gosh, he was 87, getting ready to turn 88. I mean, he lived a full life. The hardest part was the last year and a half of his life was he broke his hip.
Ooh.
2013, 2014, something like that. And they fixed it, and he went through therapy, and he was able to get around. And then for some reason, the glue between the bone and the replacement wore out.
Ooh.
Or deteriorated or whatever.
Yeah.
So his hip started doing all this, and he had to use a walker. And so they went and replaced the old hip. They replaced the replacement up in Rio Rancho year before last, about midway through the year. When they did that, when he got out of surgery, he kind of started going downhill. So they gave him a blood transfusion.
Mm-hmm.
He got better. They sent him to therapy again. And then when he came back to Cruces with my stepmom, he was in the hospital starting out about every 6 to 8 weeks for a couple of days. And then they'd send him home with an infection. He'd get pneumonia, or he'd get this, or he'd get that. He'd stop eating. He'd stop drinking anything. And this continued on, and then it slowly got closer and closer. And then June, right after the night of my surgery, he was in the hospital down up here in Las Cruces. I had my surgery down in El Paso at the Army base. William Beaumont. So he was in the hospital. They sent him home, and then he went back in the hospital again. And then they sent him to Casa del Sol. And he'd get a little bit better, he'd get worse. He'd get a little bit better, he'd get worse. And then finally his body just gave up.
Damn.
He fought like,
sounds like he's fighting like crazy.
He fought like crazy, yeah. And it's one of the hardest things to watch as your parent, go through that.
Yeah, it is.
So
I would imagine. And that's one thing that I'd always feared. I mean, I lost my mom with this December of 18, but she passed. She just bad heart, just kind of gave way.
Yeah.
With both, I've had friends who have watched, their parent just basically deteriorate with time. But it's their body, it's their spirit just trying to keep going, but it just does so much to them. Well, it was awesome to hear about your dad, and it's awesome to hear the inspiration, that he had given you. What do you want to, with the change here though, locally, like, what's something you want to see change here locally real big, Roger?
I want to see us get rid of the identity politics. Honestly.
Yeah, very interesting.
Elaborate.
Yeah.
Identity politics.
There's a lot of cards being thrown out nowadays that aren't, and it's by both sides. And it's both sides. But there's a lot of identity politics involved now. Example, I'm for legal immigration. You've met my wife, Pete. Mm-hmm. Filipina. Brown as can be. I'm a racist supposedly because I support legal immigration. No, I support legal immigration because I've gone through it. I did things the legal way. We are a land of laws, not a land of just do whatever you want. And so I've been labeled racist for that. I've been labeled Nazi for that. I've been labeled all kinds of things.
Wow.
There's good liberals out there. There's bad liberals out there. There's good Republicans out there. There's bad Republicans out there. And we need to get away from that. We need to get away from the identity politics of calling everybody names and start actually talking. Get people engaged in the community.
I love it.
Yeah, are you on the Las Cruces Community Watch page there, Pete?
I am. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I know it's been a little while, but for a while there, we were seeing shootings every night or shots fired every night.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, things like that. We got to start policing our own neighborhoods. We've got to start talking to our neighbors. We got to start appreciating the people that live here and doing something for the community, and not elect these people that go in the county commissioner's office or city hall or whatever that have an agenda just for their side. And that's what I see from my part. You know, so
I like the message. You know, I'm behind you, because at the end of the day, I think communication is what we all lack. You
right.
know, and I think if we were to just go back to old school, you know, where we could all work together and communicate a little bit better, I think things would be a lot easier. You know, and it's well said. Well said on your end. It's good to hear that that's your point of view. I mean, because I would have thought you're right. Identity politics, as like I kind of shared with you last night. I would have thought me and you had completely opposing views. You know, but hearing you out. Yeah, you know, but hearing you out, that's kind of one thing I wanted to tell. I told Phil, is like, you know, I wanted to hear you out and see where you stand. Yeah. And, you know, it's me and you land on the same page. You know, I'm for everybody keeping their AR-15. Phil says people don't need our AR-15s, but, you know, that's just us, and that's just me, you know. But it's really good to hear your end of it. How's this? And you're running for this Senate district. So is that for here locally?
There's I think there's like 5 Senate seats local for the New Mexico State Senate. The way they have it zoned, I mean, you can kind of see my map here. I'm the white part there, but this is just my part. But the way they got it zoned is real weird. But there's about 5 seats are that we need to contest. Try to get people in that want to not raise taxes, make New Mexico great, work for jobs, work for education. And in education, we need to get rid of Common Core. We need to get the feds out of state education. The Department of Education wasn't made till 1979. I got out of high school in 1980. And I'm going to put this out there right now so somebody doesn't think they got a one up on me. I did not graduate. I got my GED shortly afterwards so I could join the Navy. I didn't graduate because of my home life, not because of lack of teaching or lack of learning ability. When I was in the Navy, I scored pretty high in almost all my classes. So when I took training, whatever training I took, I was up there. So, you know, I'm not afraid of conversations. I'm not afraid of my past, because we have all done stupid shit. Unlike Bill Clinton, I did inhale when I was younger.
My man.
Right.
I mean, you know, I have opinions on medical marijuana versus legalizing marijuana. And it's basically more because of what I've seen from cities. I totally agree with medical marijuana because it does help veterans. So therefore, it's got to help other people with PTSD who haven't gotten it through being in the service or whatever. And that does happen to people. Legalizing marijuana, I'm for it as far as it's really no different than alcohol. But because it's not legal nationwide, there's still federal penalties. And if you even look at Colorado, it's like for every dollar that Colorado makes, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, Phil, but for every dollar Colorado makes, they spend about $4 or $5 in government.
Yep.
So they're actually losing money versus making money through legalizing recreational marijuana.
Correct. You're right.
And part of that is, one, legal marijuana. And, our friend, you know who I'm talking about, Pete, had the medical marijuana card. And this friend of ours would only be able to go down and buy legal marijuana every once in a while because of the cost. Other than that, they're still buying black market weed. That doesn't help us.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. And
it's so expensive.
And my feelings come from that also is because, let me. Those are my meds.
Whoa.
And that's not. I was on more meds before I had my surgery.
Jeez.
What's the difference?
Right.
Jeez.
The big thing for me though is like alcohol. We need to focus on the smoking and driving.
Yes, I agree with that.
We don't want people getting killed, and I know a lot of people don't. There's a lot less violence happens with people who smoke marijuana than drink alcohol.
That's true.
The regular people. I'm not talking about dealers and all that, and I'm probably going to get some crap for this from anybody who's more conservative. But it's my opinion, and until we can figure out a way to do it where it actually helps and protects people, then unfortunately I am against recreational marijuana.
Well said.
And not because of my personal beliefs or anything like that. It's because for the public safety, we have to do that. We have to take care of public safety first.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think if everybody just jumped on board with all 50 states, was like, all right, it's legal there, I think it would be fine. But piece by piece, since everybody's legalized it slowly but surely, that's what's causing it. I mean, if we did the same with chocolate, people would go nuts.
Right.
Look at back in the early 1900s with Prohibition.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, Prohibition. That's the perfect one.
Perfect.
This is so how does the voting work? Just so we can come up wrapping up to an end here.
Okay.
Because we're definitely gonna get you back up because we want to follow up with you. But
sure.
Tell us a little bit about this. How do people find you? Where can they get a hold of you and so forth?
Well, you got my card. My campaign phone number's on the card. On the back of the card are links to my Facebook campaign page, my web page, which is not real fancy because my brother's doing it for me, and I don't have any money right now. And by law, that's where it's got to stay for a while. And then
Twitter as well.
I hope,
Your Twitter as well is on there.
And Twitter, my campaign Twitter. Yeah.
There you go.
So, and I hope talking about the money thing wasn't a campaign finance issue because I want to do this above board. I want to be totally legal. Yeah. I don't want to be one of those, and I don't want to be a politician. I want to be a statesman like our forefathers wanted us to be.
Oh,
yeah.
And that's why on my card, if you look, it says a government for the people, by the people, and of the people. A quote from Abraham Lincoln back during the Gettysburg Address.
Yes.
That's where we need to get back to.
That is awesome.
That's
awesome to hear. Well, Roger, we're definitely on your side here, and I'm glad we can give you some time to talk about it. And thanks for sharing your stories with us about your dad. That's awesome to hear the inspiration, and awesome to hear your point of views. We're definitely on your side. I'm on your side here. I want to see this place grow too. We don't want to leave Cruces anytime now. And if we go anywhere, we would go up north, if anything. But if we're gonna stay anywhere, we're gonna stay here. And I'm definitely on your side there for sure, Roger. So I'm gonna let y'all close it out. But I wanted to say thank you for Roger for joining us. Thank you again. We appreciate it. You look good. I'll let Phil and you all close it out.
Thank you for asking me. Appreciate it.
Of course, Roger. You're all good. Everybody, this was another conversation with Phil and Pete. You can catch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can always never catch Pete on Instagram because he's horrible at it. But Roger, again, thank you. You look great, and thanks for talking to us, man.
Peace.